Britain went Technicolor in the 80s. After the confrontation of punk, it was time to party. Music was bright, stylish, and carefully packaged. Sex and pop went hand in hand. Gay, straight, or somewhere in between. It was time to experiment. Until a new disease changed everything. Pop became more chaste, well, if only for a moment.
Girls who are boys, who like boys, who be girls, who dig boys like their girls, who dig girls like their boys. Always should be someone you really love. Girls who are boys, who like boys, who be girls, who dig boys like their girls, who dig girls like their boys. Always should be someone you really love.
At the end of the 1970s, Britain was a pretty depressing place.
We'd had a lot of the miners' strikes, power cuts, a lot of job losses. It was fairly depressed in a lot of areas.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister.
Margaret Thatcher arrived in Downing Street with a new broom.
Where there is discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is error, may we bring truth.
Punk was becoming a distant memory. Everyone was waiting for something to happen.
What do you do?
Nothing. I'm a musician.
But a new era was dawning. In the beginning, there was Adam.
You're gorgeous.
Most of the people involved in the early 80s bands had been punks at one time, and now it's over. So it's like, well, I might as well revert to what I really was wanting to do, the thing I wanted to do when I was a kid, and I used to watch Top of the Pops. Be a pop star, make loads of money.
Adam transformed pop overnight. He turned it into a costume drama again, just like his idol, David Bowie.
The White Stripe was based on the idea, I think, came from the things that we liked when we were kids, which was the Ziggy Flash, and trying to get something like that.
But Adam was looking for something different. He was about spending cash, looking flash, and posing.
He took the music industry in on his own terms. He said, no, it's not a small, grubby place. It can be as cinematic and as glamorous as Hollywood. You know, I'm going to use these influences, and I'm going to grab those influences, and I don't care.
And the idea now, the fact we are in a kind of austerity period, it's nice to just be optimistic. That's why we try and be colourful and bring a bit of the show back into the business.
Dan, if you could turn your head to the side. Gold highlights here.
He was living the dream, all the makeup and everything. He'd taken it to the nth degree. I mean, you know, this was 6 weeks at Christmas at a theatre doing pantomime, wasn't it?
Holding it, just put it on his head, exactly on the shot that we finished off with yesterday.
We were 5 straight guys who didn't mind camping out because we were so heavily heterosexual that we didn't care if people thought we were gay. We just thought that was funny. Suddenly it was like teenage girls. And literally 4 months before, it was all these kind of like punk rockers. And I suddenly thought, oh yeah, this is what it means. Oh yeah, this is what we wanted, you fool.
Adam brought sex and colour back into pop. Meanwhile, a new underground movement was starting which would take all this posing and turn it into an art form.
In 1979, I walked down these stairs here, and I found something that I really felt was my own. Here in this room, there felt like there could be a moment in time that could belong to our generation, where youth culture and pop culture could be something that we controlled.
Only blonde. Sorry, you're not blonde enough.
Steve Strange was the guy was on the door. No, you can come in. No, you can't. Oh, it's outrageous. I mean, people are queuing up to be humiliated and told they're not fashionable enough.
This was the group that became known as the New Romantics. They formed their own club, the Blitz. Bowie was the soundtrack, and style was the price of entry.
It was a great place to be, whether you were straight or gay, because you had, you know, the pick of the crowd there for, you know, for your particular satisfaction.
There were boys having sex with boys, and there were girls having sex with girls, but there were also girls having sex with boys, and everyone felt equal. And no one sort of said, oh, this is a gay club, or this is a straight club, you can't do that.
She's going out to nightclubs, drinking just champagne.
Nobody should knock fantasy. And I mean, a lot of the people that come to these clubs and dressing like a Hollywood film star, or dressing and expressing themselves and escaping that 9-to-5 route.
Experimenting with clothes, fashion, and probably
sex.
A lot of people did people experimented
Am
with
I
sex.
gay?
So it didn't, you know, it wasn't set in stone.
I
Nothing
think
was really...
Boy George and Steve Strange had a thing about turning straight people, a big competition.
The young men who would soon become Spandau Ballet were among the first in the queue and made a big impression on the doorman.
I wanted to get Martin Kemper to bed. Martin is completely straight, but we used to just have like this flirtatious games together. And I sometimes on the door I'd say, oh, I'm not letting you in tonight unless you come back to my bed and stuff like this. And it would just be like game banter.
There was a point where people felt that, oh, it was hip to be gay. So therefore, I think there were some straight blokes going, oh, this is so hip, I think I might try it. And as they say, sort of went to the other side and then realised that wasn't really their cup of tea and then moved back again. So it's a bit like that.
The gay boys had their scene, and but they found the straight boys very difficult to compete with on dress because we were very outrageous at times. Clothes were quite feminine, little court shoes, white socks, breeches, makeup, demonte. But there's a way of carrying oneself when one is straight and working class, and I like that combination.
A lot of women seem to really enjoy a guy in touch with their feminine side, well, in a more apparent sense.
It's
so
a
maybe
good pulling line, actually.
It was we were in a different time then.
Guys were no threat to women, but then again, the guys were getting their leg over.
It was fantastic. I remember the girls just walking about, you know, topless in a club, you know, and for a guy from, you know, Cambuslang outside Glasgow, that was quite unusual.
And they go, you're not gay? I just dress like this. Well, I saw you in the, you know, the ladies' toilet.
There was better lighting in the women's toilets for the guys to do their makeup.
These Blitz kids had grown up in the 70s when David Bowie was the inspiration, not just for the music, but also for makeup, fashion, and sex.
They were all really cool until the day that David Bowie turned up. And you saw them all kind of, you know, run into the toilets to do their makeup, make sure the, you know, the hair was sticking up straight because David might see them, you know.
Tough is the leather that's strapped to my skin, strung out the buns that we made. So long, night long, work till you were so down.
Spandau Ballet were the house band at the Blitz, and then the first of the New Romantics to make it on TV. But the gospel, according to Bowie, had even spread beyond the home counties. Another group of club kids appeared from Birmingham's Rum Runner.
I feel very fortunate that we grew up listening to 70s music because it was all very stylish, very original. You had artists like David Bowie, who, for me, really